and our pursuit of happiness and peace. This is Sober Mind.
Audio meters are working properly.
Nice.
Okay. Good
Can
morning.
everybody hear us?
Yes. I hope so. Odie will let us know if you can. Ramsey Kluke, good morning.
Good morning.
Is that someone over from the Oh.
That is actually Ram Cycle UK.
Okay.
Ram Cycle UK.
Ramsey Kluke.
Well, now he's Ramsey Kluke. Sorry.
He gets that a lot, believe it or not.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sober Mind. Here we have grown folk conversations about some sobriety and mental health and just overall dramatic shit sometimes. My name is John.
I'm Judy.
I'm Patrick.
And
I'm Lisa.
And I'm Denise.
Yes,
Yay!
joining us, our very special guest, Denise, in the gaming community. You know her as Fem
Army Vet
73, and she has graciously decided to join us to talk about family support dynamics.
Thank you.
And how that all works. So thank you very much for being here, Denise.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. All right. So before we get started, I just want to do a very special thank you to Odie. He has brought a ton of folks over here. We've got now close to 1,200 subscribers. Okay, Odie's not responsible for the majority of those. I am with my daily shorts. Okay, but the community that we have that participates in our Saturday show is monumental. It's awesome. So Odie, thank you very much for spreading the word through your Twitch stream. And on that note, be sure to check out Odie at ODN7. That's Odie letter N7, not Odin 7, or if that's how you want to remember it, he's out there on Twitch. So, okay, Lee, good morning, and good morning to everybody in the chat. Let's begin. So, before we get into the topic at hand, Denise, would you like to kick it off by?
Wait, hold on.
Gratitude.
Gratitude, and
What
plus
about
we've got a
gratitude?
shout
Yeah.
Out. Oh yeah, shit. Gratitude and shout out. Sorry, thank you, babe. I'll start with gratitude, and then we'll go. Lisa.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Grateful to be here. Grateful Denise can be with us today. And grateful for all of you online and in the rooms there.
All right.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Denise, since we're doing the webcams, would you like to go with gratitude?
Sure, absolutely. I'm first off grateful that you guys actually considered me to be part of the podcast today. I think it's amazing that we can actually learn from each other, and I'm grateful for that because nobody's story is cookie cutter, and little bits and pieces we can pick and pull from everybody's stories can actually fit into what we're dealing with. And I'm grateful to be able to share my part.
That's awesome. And thank you for being here.
Odie says, Odie says the people on the cams are 200 to 300% louder.
Okay. Odie, even Denise was louder.
He said Fem is 300% louder than everyone else. I knew it.
I'm not Luana, okay?
Well, I'll do my gratitude while you're doing that. Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I am grateful that spring is coming because I've just been itching to get my fingers in some dirt. and into my garden, and I'm grateful that I have a garden to plant in. But I'm really grateful that spring is coming. Very excited about that.
Patrick.
I am again grateful for just sobriety in general. Yesterday we had to put our 19-year-old cat down.
So sorry.
Thank you. I mean, and then, you know, his brother was 2 months before, you know, another 17-year-old black cat. But I was thankful because I work from home. We dropped the cat off at the vet in the morning, you know, got word of, you know, it's just, they found the mass, body was covered, you know, just internally with so much fluid, and there wasn't really much they could do. And I know this is a difficult topic, and especially for everybody here with fur babies, but, you know, I was able to leave, and we got to pick the kids up and bring them, and we got to say our goodbyes. And as painful as that is, that euthanasia is such an important part of being a pet owner, to like be able to make the decision of, you know, the quality of life is never easy, and we take it hard every time. But, you know, that is part and parcel of being a pet owner. And, you know,
Quality versus quantity.
And, you know, talking to my kids about how it hurts, but it's important that we be there and be strong for Kahlua is the cat's name, you know, and, you know, this isn't his end. He's going to go take care of the other animals wherever they may be that have moved on. But, you know, just being able to be present, be there, rather than like, you know, I remember many other times having an animal, and then that evening, just like, it's almost as my mind would just check out, and I would immediately grab a beer or a drink, and then just kind of like, those were the angry evenings or disillusioned evenings where, you know, I could easily find myself into blackout. So thankful for just, you know, grateful for just being able to be present with the emotions and, you know, be there for the family too.
Yeah.
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah. It's tough, Patrick. We've been there several times. I have gratitude for my health, my home, my family, and my sober state of mind. I was thinking the other day that I was talking to a guy at work, and I caught myself really complaining about all of the video games that I have backed up in my library.
First world problems.
Yeah. And it really caught me, and I was serious. I was like, oh man, I apologize. But if I'm legitimately complaining about this issue, then I feel like I got to do a pulse check with myself to make sure I'm not taking shit for granted, because
how dare Steam, how dare you put another sale on, came right for me.
On the serious point of that, what I mean to say in a bad way is that there's been times in my life, just like all of us, that, you know, life has been dealing a shitty hand to us, and then we fight and we struggle through that, and we survive. So anyway, I'm thankful for.
Well, it's good that you can take that different perspective now, instead of staying mired in the self-pity, woe is me. You can actually step back and look at it. So that's growth in itself.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, babe. Okay. We're going to get started. We're going to ask Denise to share her story and tell us about herself and what's going on. While she's talking, Odie, just
shout out.
Give me a volume check on that, and I'll make some adjustments. Also, real quick, we wanted to give a huge shout out to Michelle's husband, Guy. That's our brother-in-law. You see Michelle join in the chat once in a while. Today is his 10-year anniversary. He's been sober for 10 years. And man, I got to tell you, because of Guy's sobriety, I have seen that Jack Daniels Corporation has taken a significant hit in their stocks. No, kidding.
We love Guy.
He was a very, very hard drinker, and he was beginning to, I won't tell his story, but He had been suffering from some wicked seizures if he was not with alcohol for a couple hours. It was getting really bad. So he's one of those guys that when he got into the situation where he was needing to quit, I've told him this before, and I'll just be very transparent. I did not have high hopes.
Yeah, but he did amazingly well.
Shit. Patrick's like, I'm out of here.
I got the small cup today. I got to get another refill before
I
I
did give you
settle
the
in.
small
No,
cup.
it's
I'm
all
sorry,
good.
that was my bad.
It's all good. Plus, I'm sweating. I need that air out.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I think just a quick side note on Guy. He did amazingly well. He's a strong member of AA, and he also quit smoking cigarettes, and he was a longtime cigarette smoker as well, on top of quit smoking alcohol. So, I mean, it was just, and he's an inspiration.
Yeah. He's an amazing guy.
I love him dearly.
No pun intended. Guy is the amazing guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get into it as we start talking. Yeah, double whammy. Mm-hmm. Ramsey Kluke. That's it. That's how it is. I kid. I kid. Okay, Denise, tell us about you, and Odie, just give us a yay or nay on the volume as she starts to talk.
Okay.
I'll fix it.
So a lot of you know me as Fem Army vet, and as my name implies, I am a veteran. Okay, and my time in the military, albeit was short, it didn't harbor the best experience for me. I was, and I can talk about this now because I've been in therapy for 20 years. I was assaulted by 3 of my male peers, and it left me with haunting nightmares every night, recurring nightmares. And for roughly around 2.5 years after I got out, I had my run-in with alcohol, would come home slobbering drunk every night. But what capped it off for me and got me to wake up a little bit was the fact that I went home for my sister's wedding and was home for 3 weeks to, get the dresses fitted and everything else. And for 3 weeks solid, I would open the bar and close the bar every night, and not as an employee, as a patron. And the final, like the 20th or 21st night, I actually woke up in unfamiliar surroundings. Luckily for me, a friend of mine from high school found me at the bar, knew I was totally unable to drive. He took me to his apartment, and I woke up in his bed with nothing but my undies on. And I immediately freaked out because I'm like, what the hell just happened? Come to find out that I had vomited all over myself and was unable to take care of myself. And so he woke me up and said, look, it's not what it appears. You were lucky that I was here because there were a bunch of guys just swarming. And I'm like, thank you for that. So nothing happened, thank God, but it could have turned out so much worse. And that scared the shit out of me because I thought, okay, if it happens again, I could end up dead. I could end up being assaulted again. And I was not in any position to fight them off. So at that point, I had a bit of a wake-up call there, and I did it on my own, which is the scariest thing to have ever done, because I had no support system. How the hell was I supposed to explain it to friends and family? And
so you quit drinking?
Almost immediately.
Yeah.
Almost immediately, because it scared me enough to know that that was not a good way to end up. And so I went cold turkey on that, and I probably had the DTs for a good couple weeks, and had to take a little nip here and there to kind of get it to chill out enough to where I wouldn't end up in serious medical situation. But slowly that tapered off and everything, and I got back on the straight and narrow. But little did I realize it would lead to smoking to take up its place. So I went through a whole rigmarole of, well, this is a bad habit, I gotta stop now. And now my biggest problem is food. And to be fair, if that's my biggest problem, then I'll take that over alcohol any day, because I mean, granted, food, it can be an addiction.
Oh, for sure.
But there are medications out there to help now. There are, different avenues I can take to say, hey, I'm not really hungry, I'm just stressed or thirsty or whatever, which is nowhere near as vastly detrimental to your health. It's nowhere near where alcohol or drugs could be.
Just to go back, when you were drinking, did you have anybody try and pull you aside and say, hey, I think you need to back off? Or nobody?
No.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
No. And part of it too was the fact that I kind of kept it a secret. See, when I came back from my sister's wedding, everyone thought I was just celebrating my sister's pending marriage or whatever. But they didn't realize that behind all that, I had been married for 2 years, kept that a secret from my family even.
Oh, wow.
I was married for 2 years and found out that I woke up one morning and he was sleeping with somebody else in my own home while I was home. And I was like, what the shit is this? Because I went from one extreme in the military to being completely, disregarded in my civilian life.
So you didn't have much support throughout the whole time. You didn't have much support.
No, because at the time I was living in California, my family's here in New York. So while I was going through marriage troubles in California, my family in New York knew nothing. And for me, that was a great way to shield my family from that. I didn't want to have them, just like a typical veteran style. I'm sure you realize what I'm talking about, John. We don't want to feel like we're a burden to anybody. We don't want people knowing what we're dealing with, because we're supposed to be the strong ones. We're supposed to be the ones who defend people. We're the ones that are supposed to just bear the brunt so nobody else has to. And that became a huge part of my identity for years. And so when it finally came time to and that's the other thing too, every night since I got out of the military for the first 2.5 years, I would just drink enough so I could fall asleep at night and just go on and pretend like nothing happened. And it is a vicious cycle to get into. It really is. So, and a very few people know about that part of my life, but more are going to know now, aren't they? But part of being sober and taking that trail to sobriety, you have to be uncomfortable in order to make those changes in your life and make them stick.
Yeah.
But my message today is you don't have to bear that burden alone. You don't. And it's not recommended to bear it alone. Because it's so easy to backslide into old habits, into bad habits. And who knows what eyes are going to see it. Your children are going to see it. Your loved ones are going to see it. Your friends and family are going to see it. And it's not fair to them to have them witness that and make it feel helpless to do anything for you. The truth of the matter is, people in your life can and will, if given enough education on the situation, can help you through it and keep you on the path to staying healthy and sober.
I have two questions. One is, when did you finally talk to your parents or your support system, and what was the reaction?
In regards to the alcohol and the marriage, no, I still haven't.
Oh,
That is a very given what I've learned about my family in the last year and a half, it is a very sensitive subject for me.
you don't feel secure in...
Not yet,
Got it.
because I discovered my biological father October of 2022.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And
That must have been a blow.
ew, I went through a whole plethora of emotions for 2.5 weeks. I mean, literally 1 second I'd be like, wow, this is my dad. This is so cool. And then 30 seconds later, I'd be crying Niagara Falls because it was just like, how can my mother be so secretive about this important part of my life? And I almost missed the opportunity to meet my father. I missed out on the opportunity to meet my aunts and uncles and grandparents already. And I wasn't about to lose connectivity to my father. So that whole thing is still a little bit of a sensitive subject. However, with me needing to change my eating habits because I was so close to heart attack range, that was my first attempt at telling my family that, hey, I need help with something. Can you help me out? And it kind of tanked because they didn't know why I was asking for help. They didn't know what it was I was trying to accomplish and all of that. So, excuse me. So it's kind of like a sticking point with me right now, and I'm trying to find a better way for them to understand my situation, where I'm coming with this and why. And the food addiction is something that's, again, not as hardy of a subject as, let's say, alcohol. Luckily, I never turned down the path of drugs, hard drugs at that, because I honestly, I don't know if my body could handle that. I've got a lot of medical issues now as it is, stemming from my traumatic events in the military, and family history of diabetes and all of that. So, that's big reason why I now have a problem with food addiction, because it's so hard to keep all the medical stuff in check.
But
And
you did say that you're going to therapy.
yeah, oh yeah, I've
good.
been in therapy for 20 plus years already, and it's helped me out tremendously as far as controlling my emotions, the emotional eating, stuff like that. Now my biggest challenge is just mindlessly grazing. That's
a hard one. I'm a
that's
grazer.
a hard one.
I love grazing. I don't to sit down
it is
to a
a
full
hard
meal. I'm
one.
like, but
I mean,
I love
it's
grazing.
embedded in our culture. We have the greatest holiday coming up that is just more centered around that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the Super Bowl, you just show up and you can just fill up on snacks all day.
Go team.
I want to honor the fact that, you've come here with so much vulnerability, and you have shared with us, in respects more than than you have to your family. So, that's,
I mean, I guess to a certain degree, there's that stigma with family where you're constantly, I wouldn't say pitted up against your siblings or whatever the sister that I grew up with has been competitive all her life. And I've constantly been challenged to, get on the same level with her, if not surpass her. And I think because of that is where I become afraid to deal with my own family. Whereas, people of like minds, like backgrounds, like history with their addiction, it allows me to be more vulnerable and allows me to be vulnerable without judgment.
I think you're
Mhm.
describing a
all
good
been
part
there.
of part of like trying to find the support systems, right? You know, I
Mhm.
think family offers certain aspects, but for certain in tune stuff, you know, we might have to seek elsewhere.
Mhm.
I'm gonna ask some questions, and just you are in a safe space here. And if I ever ask any questions that feel like you don't want to answer or feel like that they push boundaries, you are more than welcome to tell me to go kick rocks or not answer them.
same
wouldn't
goes
say
with
it.
us too. I
Right.
mean, it's
Yeah.
a completely
I wouldn't say it like that, but you know.
Right. Can you tell me what Spectre Status Gaming is?
Yes, I can. Spectre Status Gaming is an all-inclusive group where we take people of different cultures, different backgrounds, different ethnicities. We accept those who are neurodivergent, different races, skin colors, orientations, LGBTQIA plus communities, and we all band together for our love of gaming.
That's awesome. That
Namely,
is so cool.
BioWare games and Mass Effect. So, but that's just one of the ways that we attract people and we become attracted to people is because of that inclusivity, and our love of gaming, and we try to make it as safe as we possibly can in our community. Now, some people we bring in, we can't always get them to see what we see,
Mhm.
and sometimes necessary actions are made to make sure that we maintain a healthy, safe space for everybody, and we include everybody in everything we do. Sometimes we'll have them come onto my stream and just hang out and watch me play my games, or we can even go into our own discords and just enjoy hanging out with each other, watching people play off camera, off stream, and just enjoy each other's company that way, and just get to know people for who they are.
It sounds like you found a really good support group
Yeah,
there.
I like watching her
Yeah.
light up. You lit up talking about it.
Yeah.
You guys have put in a lot of hard work in cultivating that space. You know, like
Yeah.
I love
I mean,
how
No
everybody.
space is perfect, but we try, and that's a lot. Trying and just, I mean, it's not going to be a perfect system because there is no perfect system. We weren't handed a manual and say, here you go,
Yeah,
you're on
yeah.
your own now, but
I
we try our damnedest to get it to work, and so far we're succeeding.
I love where you're going with this. One of my favorite statements of all time is, at first it irked me. The blood is thicker than water. And I would get told this in my family, if I needed to make sacrifices or I feel like, I was being gaslit in order to comply, with family. And the more it bothered me, I studied that, and that saying is actually completely different. Like, its origin is the complete statement there is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. So it means the exact opposite of what everybody throws around. Like, what it says is the bonds that we make consciously to drive ourselves, to what we hold dear for us and our identities is thicker, is greater than the genetic bonds that we may have created, just with family.
That's awesome. I love that saying.
To that point, you work so hard, and you just highlighted how the fact that you may fall short even in the best efforts in your Spectre Status Gaming.
Yep.
What would you say to a group of people that are not equipped with any tools or drive to share their vulnerability and to provide empathy for those that may fall short?
So
Family.
basically, in a nutshell,
You get where I'm going here.
Yeah. Created
in a
family.
nutshell,
Then.
none of us are perfect. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, given the same goals, the same drive, the same ambition, okay? Parts of us can fit perfectly in a whole.
Yes, I agree.
So,
Like a puzzle, you have to try it though. You have to put that
Right.
piece in, doesn't work. Okay, that one, rotate it, try
Right.
it.
Exactly. Even though one aspect doesn't fit in one spot immediately on the first go, just flipping that around or putting it in a different spot can make it work. So, and I'm prime example of this, okay? Not everybody can take my sense of humor. Not everybody can take me and handle me when I'm at my worst, okay? However, you get other pieces and people into the fold, and you got one person that can just get you to calm down just enough for somebody else to throw an idea in to fix the problem. And so when people say it takes a tribe to raise a child, it's true.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It really is, because everybody's got a different perspective to share. Everybody's got their own personal learning experience to share. And that's what's important, is the sharing.
Yeah. I wanted to quote, Ram just said that his grandfather taught him that there are no perfect people in the world, only perfect intentions. And I thought that
Exactly.
was really, really cool.
His grandfather's got a lot of really good sayings. He really does.
Okay. Again, yeah, thank you very much, Denise, for being vulnerable and sharing all that.
Absolutely.
This is the whole community that we're sort of all of us together with your channel and with Lisa's experience and thoughts and sharing her stuff and all of us doing this. It's so nice to be able to have this forum and this community that we're putting this stuff together. And everyone has a spot to share. I want to circle it back a little bit and break into the overall family support dynamics and see what that looks like for a couple of us. And I'll start that off. Remember, Lisa, I think Lisa loves just getting on here just so she can have her own therapy listen-in session. Family support is something that I've struggled with all of my life. Because I never had the proper support model in place. Everyone who's a regular to this channel knows about my abusive mother and lackluster father. May he rest in peace, I guess. But I've learned a lot about myself and the family support model by having interactions with you for the past 22 years. And where I'm going with that in a bad way is that I catch myself. Judy will say something, hey, I did this, or I need help, or whatever. And I have a learning defect that I've acknowledged with myself more than a decade ago. And that is, I don't respond well to being able to give support sometimes, because when I'm presented with someone's problem or help that is needed, I go into the shell of my mind and I start to dissect what that looks like for me. You know, it's almost
Ego.
Ego. And it's
hey,
how's
he
this gonna
needs
benefit
something.
me?
I need to reframe this to understand where I come into this.
right.
Yeah, how's this going to
Right.
benefit me?
How is this about me?
Right.
And so I've been able to pause. I don't know if it's come across well, but I think I've done better, especially since I've gotten
You have.
sober. Thank you. Validation. Nice. Feels good. And just to be able to step back and ask, hey, what do you need help with? What can I do to assist? And a lot of those times with Judy, it's just, she just wants someone to sit back and listen. Mm-hmm. So that's easy. But
I think with family, there's a lot of emotion attached already. There's a lot of memories. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of, not really inclusiveness.
Attachment.
Yes. There's a lot of attachment there, whereas opposed to friends can be, or a group like this can be more objective. They can be very supportive, but they can also be more objective than the full-on emotional attachment that a mother or a parent or a sibling has. And I think it's easier to share in a group like this, because I know I'm not going to get that criticism or emotional baggage that's going to come with if I was to open myself up to, say, a family member. Luckily, I'm fortunate enough. I have a fairly good family dynamic. My growing up years were a little shaky, but you know, they've calmed down quite a bit. So,
well, in the spirit of being transparent,
yeah,
you have two different dichotomies of support with your family.
Yes, I do.
I'll just let's just throw it out there.
Go for it.
It's neither a here nor there. It's just, okay.
It is what it is.
Your dad's support model is vastly different than your mother's support model.
Yes.
And I think your dad has a good way of giving support and being able to active listen.
Yes, where my mother wants to fix.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
control and fix.
Drama Triangle, fantastic series we did. Go check it out on our channel.
Yes, Mom's definitely a fixer.
Patrick's specialty. So, and those are tough, right? Because we oftentimes, when we want support, we don't necessarily need someone to fix something, or you may. So with Dad's support system, I think it's fantastic. In fact, Dad sometimes goes the opposite direction, and that is, hey, I noticed this, or blah blah blah. Whereas sometimes I want to go, I don't need to hear any feedback. So
I think another piece you guys brought up that was so important is the puzzle, because for two reasons. First of all, one thing I've had to learn over the years is that you can't lean on any one person for too many pieces.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have people who come into your life, and a lot of that is for very specific purposes or pieces, and you can't rely on them for something that they don't really have capacity for. And so trying to make anyone your big piece or your major collection of pieces often doesn't work out.
And then the others share the love.
You got to share the love and accept the shares from a lot of different areas and people, I think, in like groups like this or friend groups or, you know, work groups, whatever it is. And then the other piece is time, because there's days where you're staring at a piece and you're like, I have no idea where that goes. And something might change or click. And 2 days later, you're like, oh, why didn't I see where that piece fit? And so sometimes just time can literally change a dynamic in a relationship as well.
Yeah. And if I can touch on that a little bit further, think of it as being the supports for a house. You put too much weight on one part of the house, part of that house is going to fall and sink. The rest are just going to be up off the ground going, what the hell? Tip me back up. You know, it's just, it can be too much on just one or two people. You gotta spread it out so that your platform is even keeled and you can walk and traverse the whole floor. So just to put it in a mental perspective and just a mental visual.
I mean, you're giving pretty good advice here, Fem, about, you came to this conversation early talking about, I need to educate my family more. I need to get certain validation from them more. Part of this, the suck part of this is realizing that they may not be that person. When I went through my alcoholic journey in sobriety, like we are wired in such a way that, like Lisa said, from our parents and family, we try to seek this ultimate validation of completeness, right? Like, it doesn't matter how bad a day I had or whatever, or like if I was trying to excel at a certain award or be recognized in a certain relationship, ultimately I still want a hug from my mom and a pat on my back from my dad. But at the end of the day, they don't fucking belong in some of those worlds. They may not understand some of those worlds, right? And so, when I, come strolling up, be like, I'm a year sober, and it's like, oh, yeah, didn't realize you had a problem with that in it, or like, something dismissive, or it's like, there's a reason why my dad and I sometimes get along like oil and waters, because we're too fucking alike. All my traits of like not sharing and worrying about being a burden and wanting to fix everything. I mean, I'm the the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. My point with that is like, if that's the mentality and I go to a person that doesn't want to be a burden to people, if I go to them with my burdens and wanting validation, that's like asking a fish to fly. Does that make sense? Like they don't have the tools for that. They are my parent. I have this innate drive to get validation from them in a certain area, and they just may not have the capacity for that.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
I think that's the heart of this conversation, that when Denise brought it up, I immediately started thinking about that. And I think that's the struggle. That's the difficult part of this. I have a hard time rationalizing what you just said, because as an adult and as a sober person, I've seen the different side of that. And that is, I can't imagine Lisa's daughters coming to her and saying, "Hey, I need to talk to you about something." And she's just like, not really my world. I can't see that happening with you. There's no fucking way that would happen. If Flynn or Becca came up to you and they're like, "Dad, I need to talk to you about something," you would make it an absolute point to dig in and go, "All right, let's educate each other and we'll figure out how we can support each other."
You say that nicely, but sometimes the kids, this morning, Flynn is 6, so he's still got all of his baby teeth. And Saturday morning, of course, is like a struggle back and forth. My wife and I just want to sleep in, and when one of the kids up, the whole family's up type of thing. Like we are just like a bunch of peas in the pod with our ADHD and like menagerie of neurodivergencies. The story is, he was playing with Legos and he has a bad habit of just ripping them apart with his teeth. And all of a sudden we're sleeping and I hear this, "Oh my God." And like the world's coming apart, and you do the parent thing. You like flip out, get out of bed. And like, apparently he had tried to pull one apart and like his front tooth started to come loose. And only he started a little bit early since he was just wrenching on it and scraped part of his gums. Screaming bloody murder. And it's like, we're trying to talk to him and get through him. The first 15 minutes, like we're worlds apart, right? Mm-hmm. Same with my daughter. Like she was hung up about she couldn't find something to wear, or one of her friends said something, and my first, is like, "Hey, you don't need to worry about what they say." And like there are some days where I can't meet them, like where they're at. Like it's just like, and I'm not trying to say like that is a deficiency on my part. I'm trying to grow that empathy.
Yeah, but you're not a 6-year-old kid.
This is an excellent point, Judy. Like they have to walk through that door themselves. Mm-hmm. As much space as I can give them, that is my job, right? I may not be able to meet them exactly where they're at, because I can't hold their hand and walk them through. The best I can do is lead and model the way, mm-hmm. and provide that space. My son is like, I didn't want to be like, go sucking on ice cube and talk to me in 30 minutes. But, that's literally like part of what just needs to be done is like, you're going to have to deal with the consequences of your actions, right? But you're not sitting over him going like, that's every parent like trying to hold back. The first response is like, "Hey, when I told you not to start wrenching on that with your teeth, I fucking told you so. How's that taste?"
All right.
I don't do that to a 6-year-old.
All right. But let's back up. So Patrick, again, you don't give yourself enough credit. I don't think you have enough introspection on this. You simply being there and listening and giving the loosest advice possible to either one of those kids is the support model.
So when we come to our parents with very particular things in mind, or our family, and the best they can do is like, "I don't know, I love you." That's the realization in ourselves.
Well, it is, but okay, so this is what I wanted to uncrack, and that is there's a difference there in saying, "I don't know, blah, blah, blah," versus, "Oh, I didn't know you had a problem." That's putting some blinders on, I think. That's the struggle with the support model. being able to switch it and say, instead of that comment of, oh, I didn't know you had a problem, just be like, oh shit, I didn't know you had a problem. Let's talk about it.
That's a very fine line for some people, you know, like it'd be like me going to my dad if I said that and, you know, them giving a dismissive statement or not giving the validation, you know. If I were to come at them and be like, don't you fucking see me? Don't you love me? You know, like a good, like old fashioned teenager, like temper tantrum. Like, of course he loves me, right? Like,
you don't understand.
Yeah. You're not my real dad, but you are my real dad. So
I think when we become adults, it's or even growing up as children, we have to realize that that they're still human. They're not going to have all the answers. For me personally, I had to step back and look at them as humans and be able to say, okay, well, they're not going to have the answer I need. I need to go find the answer someplace else, in a group, in a friend, in some place where I know I'm going to be able to get what I need, instead of, well, just do it this way, you'll be fine. Or, you know, just suck it up. You'll be okay. This will move on. You learn to turn to other people than your biological family, and you create groups.
Let's go to the expert, Lisa.
Well, I was thinking about eagles. I've been following these eagles in California, and recently they had a massive snowstorm, and the mom eagle sat on the nest for 62 consecutive hours without leaving because their eggs are there. And they're built for this, right? Like, they're most prevalent in Alaska, and they're built for this. But all the people are like, "Oh, go, mama," you know. And you're like, wow, that's like so supportive, and why can't human parents be like that? But at some point, these eagles are going to be like, thwack, fly, little bird. Like, you know,
Time to
like,
get out of the nest.
there's dynamics to it all. It's not like, and I just keep coming back, like, it's not all one or the other. It's both and, right? They love you and they don't have capacity. They want to see you succeed and they don't always know how to teach you.
I think this is the best part of this, you know, and I'm glad you loaded this up, Fim, about like education with your family. And I think this is the part, you know, I need you to see me. I need you to meet me where I'm at. And what's the best way we can do that? We meet them where they're at. Meaning, like, understand that they may not have the full capacity to understand what you're dealing with, but it is also on you to work, you know, like you've explained in the Spectre Status Gaming group, to say, like, look, you may not know everything about diabetes or
addiction,
PTSD or addiction, but right now, you know, when I come to you, like, I don't need you to fix some of the problems. I just need you to hear them. You know, that's a good one with couples. You know, like, there will be times my wife has a bad day or I have a bad day, and you just pop one off and you just sort of do the brain dump, and you're like, whoa, you know. And I've learned it's important to ask my wife, like, are you looking for solutions or comfort right now?
That's a good one. That's a really good one, especially, you know, when you're used to, when you're in conversations, when you've done your work and you've got those tools. That's a very good one.
Let's take a good one of this. Is like, I can imagine dietary needs, you know, Fim, when, you know, you come and you say, like, I told you I'm diabetic and I showed up to a family gathering and there were no good options. And, you know, you have to articulate how that makes you feel. Like, I feel unseen, like you don't understand this, you know, and that has to, and of course, some people may take that as, well, it's not my fucking problem to deal with your fucking problem, you know, and at the same time, like, you'd be like, correct, you know, but I would like to be included in this. And I think there may be other options. I've seen you serve this dish and that would work, you know, perhaps, you know, I could request that. Or would you be amenable to me bringing something if it is so uncomfortable with you, you know, like, I don't know what it is, but you just have to, like, meet them. Again, if you want them to meet you where you're at, you meet them where they're at first. You don't say like, well, I need you to provide me a list of 5 different options that you're going to serve and show me all the ingredients and how you prepare it to make sure that it's kosher with me. Like, you know, I mean, that's, you know, that's a big ask, That may be inappropriate to ask for a certain family member, but not another.
Right. And that was part of the problem I was facing with my family. It didn't have to be just a dietary thing, like what's the first thing that's served at most parties other than food? Alcohol. So there's that, and while, people are like, oh, well, you always, crack one open during, well, this case coming up Super Bowl, Super Bowl's tomorrow. What's wrong with bringing a non-alcoholic version?
Yep. We talk about that in the toolkit all the time.
It's stuff like that, little stuff like that. It's a small change on their part, and it's not a huge ask at that point, but some of them will make a big deal of it. And at that point, it's like, how do we cope with that?
Also, I wanted to know, how do we know when we're being too nitpicky and when we're not, when we can, do you know what I mean?
Am I being difficult here?
Am I being difficult? Am I being demanding, or am I being realistic? How do we know the difference between the two? Because that's the one I have a problem with not wanting to make waves, not wanting to cause an issue, not wanting to stir the pot. Just I'll just
we're gonna
bring my own or
get
whatever.
Pushed out of the nest, and we learn to fly on our own there. Meaning, the alcohol at a party is a good one. Early, I always made sure I had an option available. And this is the toolkit, learning the cues. Like I had like a whole toolkit around that, like making sure that you had your own way out of the party, knowing when to get the F out, reading cues. At a certain point, I love showing up and those talking to them, but when alcohol was involved, if it went late into the evening, there's a certain point where I'm like, yeah, the words are getting kind of slurry and the stories are repeating. Hey guys, it's been a great party. I appreciate being here. And you have to let go of the FOMO that you may be feeling. Likewise too, I went to, my brother hosts a lot of stuff with a lot of alcohol there. And there was one time where they had his wife was still pregnant, my sister-in-law, and they had like a smattering of options of NA stuff in the fridge. And I said, hey, that was pretty cool. That really helped me out. I didn't ask for it, but it was like one of those things that, and now when I show up, they usually have like one or two options because they said that, and they're like, oh, I didn't realize that was that helpful for you. Right. Yeah. So giving positive reinforcement on actions, validating them where they may not see it may be an innocuous thing. Hey, I have this dietary restriction and you serve this and that was great. And they're like, oh, well, I did good there. Maybe,
catering to their ego.
Meeting them, catering. I mean, I'm not above pumping some tires. Think about how silly that is. Like, I'm looking for validation from them. Yeah, of course I'm trying to like feed ego. I mean, right. I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
Right, but in that case, feeding the compliments is a two-way street, right? You want them to follow up and do what they did for you that last time that helped you out, and complimenting them so they are apt to do it again. Yep. Now, in my family, the way we solved the alcohol problem is that, how BYOB means bring your own booze?
Yep.
Well, they kind of changed it up. It's now bring your own beverage. So it doesn't have to mean something that has alcohol in it. And what's yours is yours. No one else is supposed to touch it. And it's the honor system, right? So that was how my family got around the alcohol bit. But I kind of didn't tell them that was because of me. That was, an idea I had in case, like some of the pre-21-year-olds wanted to try and get a nip of alcohol. And it was just kind of a sneaky way for us to say, hey, if you want to drink it and it's alcohol, you better be of the age to buy it before you bring it in, So that was kind of like the way for the 16 to 20-year-olds to not bring alcohol.
Yeah, you found common ground with another group and you made space for it.
Yeah. I think one of the key things here is communication and communicating in the proper way so that you can relate to the other person and they can comprehend what you're talking about, and you feel better that you've been able to express yourself the way, or express the ideas that you have and the feelings that you have. I think it's communication is pretty much important in all aspects of our social life. But to be able to do it the right way instead of the wrong way is
the best we can do is clearly articulate our needs, wants, and desires. Whether or not it's heard is not up to us.
Yes,
right?
But I
very
think,
true. Very true.
and with your point about the change happening, I think as we do it more, it gives other people permission to do it more too.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lead and model the way.
Yeah. And they also feel comfortable doing it instead of taking that first step on their own.
Good discussion. I want to take a minute to welcome Catherine to the show. Thanks for joining. She said, I'm beginning to learn that when my children come to me and talk to me, all I can do is listen. They come to me and vent and tell me that they don't need me to solve their problems. Bunch of great comments today.
That's a good one for kids to be able to say that, because it took me a long time to tell my parents that I don't need you to fix what's going on. I just need you to listen. I didn't know that I needed that.
That's a hard ask. I mean, I didn't learn that until like I was, going through sobriety.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I mean, and my family was brought up without those tools, so you can imagine the amount of dynamics involved in that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I also want to step back a little bit. We talked about giving the compliments for positive reinforcement and expecting that back. I treat compliments like the best advice I had ever been given about money is if you lend money to a friend or family, don't expect it to be paid back, meaning you give it as a gift, because if you tie it with expectations, then you're expecting things to go a certain way. Life is what happens when we're busy making plans, right? Like you're making it transactional. So too with compliments. If we give compliments expecting a transaction to happen backwards to us, then you're giving compliments for the wrong reason and setting yourself up for failure, right? We give compliments as a way to lead and set an example. There may be times when we give compliments and we get the opposite in return. That is not on us. That is not on us, right? We're modeling the way, the best, if we expect something back, then everything shuts down, right? You didn't give me the compliment back, so I'm not going to give it to you anymore. And it's like, okay.
It's just like you're saying, putting expectations on a person and expecting them to react in a certain way. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to react the way you wanted them to, and you're going to get hurt.
Right.
That's what's going to happen. So to just put it out there without those expectations on leaves a lot more maneuverability for your emotions not to get stamped on.
Yeah, that's something.
And at that, I'm sorry, John, at that point, if someone doesn't pay you back a compliment, and like Patrick said, it's not, or Judy or John, whoever said it, I'm sorry, my brain is stuck on this thought. If they don't pay it back, again, that is not on you as the individual. You are not a bad individual. You did what was appropriate, and if someone doesn't reciprocate, that is by no means a dig at you as a person.
Yeah, they may be going through something else, and their mind is completely someplace else.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with you.
They could just be simply having a bad day.
Yeah.
We don't know. We're not telepathic. We can't sit there and wondering what's eating at them.
Although I would like to really sometimes to be telepathic, because that would make my life a lot easier.
Tell me about it.
I mean, let's be honest. When ego drives that bus, of course they want, ego wants to be validated back. It's really, the ego is so crafty at how quickly it slides itself in on those scenarios. And that's, we talked, last week we talked about that space. What was your quote, Lisa? I loved it so much that I already forgot it. But the space between
stimulus and response, there is a space.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about actions with family, just give yourself the grace to know that there's so many encoded habits, like way deep, way deep into your psyche, that, you know, those, you know, because of the time and emotional depth of those habits, it takes equally as long time to unwind and begin to understand too. So, you know, you may make great progress with your other support groups, seeking that out, you know, but you can't go back to your family expecting the same amount of depth and speed, because it is,
I still like the blood, and the blood of the covenant. It's thicker than the water of the womb. I just think that is awesome. I mean, coming from used to being in a coven, that was just awesome possum. I just totally
it's
dig
a
that.
good one. It blew my mind. I'm like, how did that get amalgamated to the complete opposite of what it is?
Well, it goes back to that line of people. You the first person says one sentence. By the time it gets to the other end,
grapevine,
the
yes.
telephone
completely
game.
skewed. Completely.
Yes.
It's the same concept, really.
Yeah. But I think that is true. The people that you gather around you, whether they're friends or family or, you know, your group, are a stronger bond than the people you were born into, I think.
Yep. Great discussion. It is time.
It went quick.
Yeah.
That went really
that was
quick.
like lightning fast.
Well,
Did.
Odie's got to get ready for his stream, so I think half the people on this show are going to transfer over to do some Odie gaming today. Odie N7 at Twitch. Okay.
Thank you, Denise, for coming on and sharing your story. That took so much courage, and I just think that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're quite welcome, guys. I appreciate the invite.
And likewise,
great
let's
to have
plug
you
her
here.
stream. Are you streaming later today? Tomorrow?
I might be streaming a little bit later today. I had to postpone my stream from Thursday because I went and had my eyes dilated.
Oh,
Did they give you the cool sunglasses still?
the big
what
grandma
I call the Ray Bans, because they're banned in 27 different countries because they're both so good looking. Yes, they did. But yeah, you certainly can't game with your eyes dilated. No.
doesn't work.
No.
You should play a soldier with adrenaline rush, you know, on, like, you know, what is that, like Firebase White? You can't see anything. Sorry, we're going way into the weeds on the game here.
We got to wrap it up, Patrick.
I know.
All right. So thank you, Catherine. Again, thanks for joining. And thank you for everybody else.
Thank you, Lisa.
If you are interested in being a guest on the show, please jump onto our Discord. There's a guest request channel on there. Let us know if you want to be on the show. Denise can attest. We make it pretty easy for you to join. And
Also, if you've got topics that you want us to talk about or contribute to, by all means, put them on Discord.
Yeah, we're doing a good job here during the chat. You know, we're baby stepping the Discord. So, you know.
Yeah, I just got on.
Participation there, you know, be patient with us. But I'd love to, you know, extend these types of conversations over. You know, we find that sometimes we just need to make the space for the stuff for us to dig around in some of these areas, and then they'll appear. You can't go in expecting certain things to happen.
Yep.
And did you hear that, Ram? It was easy for me to get on here because I didn't have to do a lot of tech stuff. Ram knows that I am not a tech-savvy person by any stretch of the imagination. So I think he'll be impressed that I got on here fairly easily and without much of an issue.
Well, thank you for making it happen, and thanks for the time.
And thank you, everybody, for tuning in that normally wouldn't have tuned in. We really appreciate it.
Yep. And Lisa, thank you for Lisa is our reoccurring voice of sanity up in the top right. She joins when she can every Saturday. So
Oh, yikes. Don't give me that role.
yeah, you are it. And Odie, I'm assuming the audio from the guest was okay because you didn't chime in neither here nor there. So kind of fail on you, but. All right, everyone.
Run away.
Yeah.
Run away! Yay!
Denise, you're more than welcome to join
Unconditional.
anytime you want to discuss a topic. So we're
Yeah,
here.
absolutely. Thank you for another invite. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. All right, everyone. Have a good rest of your weekend. All right, it was fine. Thanks, Odie. For 45 minutes late.
You know what fine stands for in the sober world?
What?
Fucked up in.
inside, not emoting.
Yes. I was gonna say
fine.
I was gonna say fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional,
Yeah,
but
I like that one
works
too. All right.
All right,
Much
everyone.
love to everybody.
Yeah, we'll see you next weekend. I think our topic for next Saturday is going to be something that Judy wants to talk
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
I'm
And
learning how to forgive.
yeah, I got a lot to unpack about that shit. So we'll
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Better,
right, everyone.
better start checking it in now.
Yeah. This podcast contains a.
Okay. All right. We'll see you guys.
Be kind to yourself.
Yeah, be patient with yourselves, Patrick.
You are loved.
You are fucking loved, everyone. And you're great people. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Perfect timing.
Hold on, I'm gonna end the stream. They can still hear us.